Okay, guys, so with these programs that I'm giving you, I just want to run through the basics of what I'm going to presume that you actually already know what these exercises are, but I want to run through the basics of the formats of these 7 programs. And first of all, say that they've obviously been done because I know that pre programming and thinking about what you're doing ahead of time takes a lot of time, but it takes so much pressure off you when it's been done. It takes so much pressure off you. Now, our sessions always run were for 45 minutes. There was one instructor only, and there was a maximum of 6 people in the group. You could run it with 8. Sometimes we ran it with 8 as well. And I will say there are a couple of guidelines in that there was only ever one lift happening in the group at a time that needed full supervision. So you might notice that, for example, there's a deadlift here, but there's no other real exercise on that particular day that really needed to be spotted. Now, of course, this comes with the disclaimer to say that I'm presuming that you already know how to train people. You know how to train them one-on-one, and I just wanted to explain some of the words that I've used to shorten things because they might not make sense. Okay, so this first program is everything's split into usually 4 days. We've got day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and you will notice on some of the programs that there are like dates, for example, like this down the bottom, just here. And all the dates mean is that this was done on Monday, this was done on Tuesday, this was done on Wednesday, this was done on Thursday, this was done Friday, Saturday. It wasn't done Sunday, but we counted as if it did get done Sunday, and then Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You get it? So it would go for a cycle of 4 weeks, meaning that each day got a different program. And yes, sometimes the programs doubled up, but it got to be done for 4 weeks. And it's super important, obviously, when you're programming to be able to justify the reps, the sets, the exercise, the time under tension, and the rest period. Now, a lot of these don't have the rest period written on there, but then some of them do. So I'm going to go through and just briefly explain what I've done. Anyway, so day 1 is a hamstring and chest, meaning that there's a couple of different options. Sometimes we would have one person here doing, say, for example, 8, and then another person here doing 8 with only a short 10-second rest of dips, and then they do 15. Then they would alternate. So they would work on this with their partner. They'd alternate probably until they'd done, say, 3 sets of each, and we'd have another pair of people here and another pair of people here. And we would just move through them like that. That makes sense. Then day 2 is a full circuit. So we'd have one person on each exercise usually, and we'd cycle through. There'd be no rest until they got up to the exercise that they started with. There'd be a 60-second rest, and then we'd go again. And full body and core, same. It's actually a circuit. So they start on A2, for example, go all the way through till they got to A2 again and have a 60 seconds rest. Keep going. So it'd be our job to spot them, change the technique. Obviously, for example, a deadlift is not going to be done by somebody who's a beginner, so it's expected that you know how to regress or progress the exercise based on who needs what. Quads back, meaning same format as over here. They would be on this like this, swapping with a partner. If it's got 8 and then 15 next to it, it means they do 8 reps, then they might have 10 seconds rest and they do 15 at a faster pace. There's no 15 up here because I didn't want people doing 15 deadlifts at a fast pace, just for safety reasons when you're training that many people at once. Now I'm going to move on. And another example of this is real volume training, as in we've split it up to back, quads, arms, core, chest, hamstring, and a full body and core. And there's slower sets. So these were done at, for example, a really, really, really slow negative pace, and then the second set of 8 will be done 10 seconds later, and it would be done not quite as slow, and the 15 would be quite fast. Then they would have 90 seconds rest, move on to B. Sometimes we would get them alternating just between A and B, or we get another 2 people alternating here, and sometimes we would cycle them through the entire day. Sometimes we would finish with 5 or 10 minutes of cardio Tabata HIIT kind of thing at the end, but predominantly these are all 45-minute sessions, and it's presuming that the first round through of the movements is actually the warm-up. So they'd be exercising, doing 1 set of each thing at a 60% of their effort level, and that would be the warm-up. 6, 12, 25, and circuits, meaning when you get to something that looks like this, see how there's A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, meaning that they would go A1, A2, A3, then they would move on, they'd have a rest, then they'd move to A4, A5, A6. So they'd put all the A's together with a bit of a rest after the 25, meaning they do 6. So it's a quad, quad, quad. See, quad, quad, quad exercise, or a thigh, 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 or squat, 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 multi-joint movement, but it's big and it hurts. Then it's back, back, back. And yes, the 6 is heavy, the 12 is not so heavy, and obviously the 25, is a little lighter. Then we go back to quads again, quad, 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 dominant, and then biceps. And again, there's the example of dates. Day 2 is just a circuit cycling through, as you've seen the other cycles. Same with the 6, 12, 25 down here. Obviously, if somebody can't do a deadlift because they are new, now in groups is not the time to teach them. I think that should be taught separately. So we would change it into something like a sumo squat, for example, but even some beginners can't do that. So make sure it's appropriate for the person. Okay. Circuits, exactly the same as what you've just seen. A1 through to 6, they move through it. The rest gets to change weekly, and sometimes the reps changed weekly, but in these cases, the exercises stayed the same. So as long as you can justify the variables that you're changing and justify why you're keeping some of them the same within why you're training people. But remember, these are groups. So the one presumption is that they're trying to gain muscle tissue and lose body fat. So if clients ever wanted to do cardio, I'd get them to do cardio generally after these sessions, not before, or ideally even at a different time. Now, this is only a 3-day split, day 1, day 2, day 3, but we still formatted it the same way. So they would do this on a Monday, this on a Tuesday, this on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like that, for example, over a 4-week period. Then we changed the program. 5, for example, all we did was change week 1, we did 10 reps of everything. Week 2, round 1, so the first time through the circuit, they did 8. The next time through the circuit, they did 12. The next time through the circuit, they did 15. The next time back down to 8. So this was quite a heavy volume circuit where we would up the reps and then drop the volume off at, say, week 3 or week 4, let the bodies recover a little bit, and then we'd go back to quite intense. Again, as long as you can justify exactly what you're doing. Week 7, just big supersets and core. So we've got A1 and A2, meaning that we would alternate between this and this. So you'd get 30 seconds rest. After that, then have a rest of 60 seconds for between this and this, 30 seconds. And you can see the reps are quite low with the bigger lifts. So it becomes quite obvious if you actually know what the training methods are that you're using. If you actually have any questions about this, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, please share this with as many trainers as possible. It just makes your life so much easier, I know, when you don't have to think about this. And there's 7 programs here, so you can think of it as 7 months worth of programming. Any questions, let me know.